Okay, now one thing I've realized, or I've come to learn about, life is that sometimes rejection is, redirection. You feel me? So I was saying, fellas, rejection sometimes is redirection. You feel me? Yeah. So learn to sometimes accept no's and see them for what they really are, but most importantly look at rejection for it being a positive thing, not to like say that you should just be out here you know just being positive. This thing didn't work out, so I'm just like claim that it happened for a reason. Okay, there are things in life that actually happen to us, or kind of like um, people who say no, or jobs that you happen to like be to an interview, and unfortunately you don't get through, you don't go through. So fellas, in as much as there are things that don't work out for no good reason, I want you to also understand that there are things that don't work out for a reason. You feel me? Yeah. So you just gotta be able to like discern which is which. You feel me? And be able to like like I say, man, like discern which is which as far as the overall picture of whatever that you're trying to work out, in a sense. You feel me? Yeah. So there are many things in life that don't really like work out. It's for for a reason, in a sense. You feel me? There are many no's that you kind of like receive, that they are for a good reason, in a sense. You feel me? Yeah. So for the most part, if you can channel your energy or whatever that you're trying to like work on, I feel like you will get to a level of understanding, or you'll get ahead in life and realize that actually whatever that didn't work out, it didn't work out for for the overall good, or for the good of your own your experiences out here, in a sense. You feel me? Yeah. So many things we try, in many instances, man, we try to like fix, we try to like push, we try to like beat ourselves up and when things don't work, when things don't work out, or then things don't go our way. You feel me? But one thing I want you to know is that sometimes things don't work out for a reason, and that reason is probably a good one. You feel me? Like I've mentioned, it's probably a redirection. You feel me? You're being redirected to something better, you feel me, than you actually thought you deserved, in a sense. You feel me? Yeah. And this applies to relationships, this applies to job search, it applies to a lot of things out here that we kind of like not accept a no for an answer. And eventually, as we get ahead in life, we kind of like look back and actually realize that it didn't work out, and it was for our own good. You feel me? There are many things in my own life, experiences that actually didn't work out, and I figured out that I eventually figured out that actually they didn't work out for a reason, and that reason was there to assist me, in a sense. You feel me? Yes. So in as much as we try to I'm trying to like check out some weeds out here. Yeah, so here as much as we try, not to take a no, no's for an answer. I feel like we should be able to sometimes use a gift of discernment to understand that sometimes things don't work out for our own good, for our own overall good, in a sense, you feel me? Yeah, so that's like the message I meant to put across for y'all, man. Yeah, so when things don't really go your way, you feel me, don't beat yourself up. Don't ask yourself like, why me, why did why God, why I just can't have a relationship with people, why I can't do this and that, you feel me? I feel like you should just have to like embrace and accept and move forward, you feel me? Some things don't work out for a good reason, you feel me, fellas?